Hey everyone, welcome to English 101. I'm your instructor, Tiffany Lester Trocher. Most students just call me Mrs. LT. So I want to take some time in this video to explain to you how I have organized the content for the course. So if you're watching this video, that means you made it to our course homepage. Hopefully you read the welcome announcement, and then you clicked on content up at the top, and then that brought you into the content for the course. You saw some tabs down the left side of your screen. The first one was Getting Started, and then you saw Week 1 module, Week 2 module, Week 3 module, and so on and so forth. So you clicked on Getting Started, and then you saw several sub-tabs appear underneath that tab for Getting Started. The first sub-tab was Meet Your Instructor. Just a little information about me, including my contact info. The next sub-tab was Course Introduction, just a little overview of what this class is all about. And then the third sub-tab was the one we're on right now, How to Find Your Way Around. Underneath this one, the next sub-tab is Attendance and Weekly Deadlines. That contains some pretty important information. If this is the first time you've taken an online course, you definitely want to pay very close attention to the written information and watch the video in that sub-tab. If you've taken some online courses before, you might not need to watch the video, but the written information does contain a chart at the bottom where I list each week of the course and the specific dates that each week begins and ends. So that can come in kind of handy. Underneath Attendance and Weekly Deadlines is the syllabus for the class. It's in a PDF file there. I will give you access to it in a Word document in another section of the course. Underneath the syllabus, you'll see the last sub-tab in the Getting Started section. It's called Instructions for Using Google Docs. There will be a few assignments in this course that are required to be submitted in a more formal way. That would normally include using Microsoft Word or like Adobe, so you can create a PDF. But if you don't have access to either of those, these instructions for using Google Docs will show you how to set up a free Google account and how to start using Google Docs, which is basically like an online free version of Microsoft Word. It will show you how to, create one of those, type it up, save it, and then submit it. And it will function almost exactly like a regular Microsoft Word document functions. So not all the assignments in the course will be required to be submitted in such a formal way, but there are a few. So if you reach that point in the course and you don't have access to Word or being able to convert to PDF, come back to this little sub-tab here in the Getting Started section on using Google Docs and see if that works for you. Underneath the Getting Started tab, remember we saw Week 1 module, Week 2 module, so on and so forth. That's actually where I want to focus our attention for the rest of this video, because I want to show you how I have organized each week. Before we do that though, I want to remind you of how many hours this course is supposed to entail. It is a 40-hour lecture with 20 hours of additional outside work. Those 40 hours of lecture are spread out over 10 weeks, averages to 4 hours per week. Those 4 lecture hours would often, for other types of classes, you would be on campus in the classroom for those 4 hours each week. You don't even really think much about how they add up to 40 hours throughout the term, but they do. You just know you're supposed to go to class this day for this time every week. You also know that most classes will, require a certain amount of homework each week. You're a little more aware of those additional outside hours because you have to do them on your own outside of class. You have to make time in your schedule to complete the homework items before going back to class the next week. But you're not as aware of those 40 hours. But when you do an online course, those 40 hours spread out over 10 weeks, that can cause some issues. Because now that you're no longer in the classroom for those lecture hours, you not only have to fit in the homework each week, but now you have to fit in the lecture each week as well. You have to fit it into your own schedule. So you have to figure out 6 hours of work on this class each week. You have to figure out when you're going to accomplish those 6 hours. Because even though it is an online course, the amount of hours you're supposed to spend on the class doesn't change. So if it's on campus, you spend 4 hours a week in the classroom and only about 2 hours doing homework outside of class. That's a little more manageable. Now though, you're having to do all 6 hours on your own. It doesn't change. The amount of hours doesn't change. Now you have to do them all on your own. There are some perks to that though. You know, you get to decide when to do it. If you want to work on it at 3 o'clock in the morning every night, you can. If you want to do an hour here and an hour the next day and 2 hours, you know, a couple days after that, you can do that. So it does come with some perks. On the other hand though, that is still 6 hours of work that you have to figure out how to fit into your schedule. I suggest actually thinking of a time during your week where you could go to class. If you have the option of taking a 4-hour chunk of time and pretending like you're in the classroom and doing the 4 hours of lecture during that time, I think that would be super helpful. Realistically though, you might not have that option. If we're not on if we don't have a schedule that says we have to be on campus in the classroom this day for these 4 hours every week, we're going to schedule other life things around that time. So you might not have the option of picking a 4-hour chunk of time sometime during the week to spend on the in-class portion of this course. But you can still break it up, but if you can at least keep in mind that even though it's online, it is still supposed to be about 6 hours each week. It will help you from feeling like there's so much work. It is a lot because you are responsible for all of it on your own. But it's no more than what it would be if it was on campus. It's just those 4 hours spent in the classroom, we just don't think much of it. Having to do those 4 hours on your own at home, that's tougher. But just kind of view the course in that way, and it will help you stay a little more focused and understand how I have laid out each module each week, right? And if you can keep thinking about in-class work, that'll be helpful as well. So let's look at the week 1 module. When you click on week 1 module, first thing you're going to see on the right-hand side of your screen is an outline. That outline goes through everything that you are supposed to accomplish in the first week of the course. So the first item is syllabus review, and then weekly journals explained, and then introduction to writing, and then pre-writing, I believe. If you look at the subtabs under week 1 module, they match up exactly. So the first item on the outline is the first subtab under week 1 module. The second item on the outline is the second subtab under week 1 module. So it all matches up. The outline ends with the homework assignments. The last subtab under week 1 module is the homework assignments. So even that matches up. Now, if you can think of all of those other subtabs from syllabus review all the way down until the homework assignments, all of those items, that's what we would do in class together in week 1. We would go through the syllabus together. I would explain how the weekly journals function. We would go over the introduction to writing PowerPoint and have a little discussion about it. We would go over the pre-writing PowerPoint and have a little discussion about it. And then I would give you homework assignments. Think of it that way. All of the items in the subtabs for every module are the lessons we would cover together in class. The items under the homework assignments tab are the graded items for that week. Now, some weeks it's going to look like there's a lot of graded items listed under the homework assignments tab. Keep in mind, some of those items we would do together if we were in the classroom. But instead of putting the weekly journal up there in those subtabs, because we would do that in class together every week, I still put it underneath the homework assignments tab just so that, for the sake of streamlining where the assignments are located, I've kept them all together in the same spot for each module. So when you go to the homework assignments tab for week 1, even though it's going to look like a lot, just remember some of those things we would have done in class together. But I want to keep them all located in one centralized place, so all the graded items go under the homework assignments tab. Now, you might be looking at week 1 homework assignments and saying, well, I actually only see one thing. It doesn't look like much at all. Well, yes, right now the only thing you can see is the week 1 attendance quiz. So, in order to have one place where students go to submit a graded item and trigger their attendance each week, one centralized place where instructors can go to more efficiently track attendance each week, we have created weekly attendance quizzes. It is a 1-question quiz. It is a super, super easy question. The quiz does not go towards your grade. It is simply one step you have to take in order to access that week's other assignments. So, once you take the week 1 attendance quiz, you will then see all the other week 1 assignments appear. So, the first thing you're going to see is to read chapters 1 and 2, and then the syllabus acknowledgement, and then the week 1 journal, and then week 1 assignment 1, and then the week 1 discussion. So again, that looks like a lot, but the syllabus acknowledgement is really easy. You just type out a sentence. The journal is meant to be a 10-minute assignment. Reading the chapters, I don't want you to read them and, go pour over them and, spend a whole lot of time. It's more of just skimming them and reviewing them. So, it looks like a lot of items, but half of them are real quick and easy. Okay? It's more like business, if you will. But that's how it will look each week. When you go to the homework assignments tab, the only thing you'll see is the weekly attendance quiz. Once you take it and submit it, then you will have access to all the other graded items for that week, right? So, if you can remember that all of the subtabs in a module are the lessons we would cover together in the classroom, and then you have your homework assignments listed last, that can help you figure out how everything works together. Oh, I should go through these subtabs first. I should go through these lessons first. And that will prepare me for the homework this week. Just like if you were on campus. If you go to class and you're present for the lecture and the discussions and the activities, then you leave with some homework to do, and the homework is often based on the lessons that you covered in the class that day. If you missed class, trying to do the homework without getting going over the material that you missed, that would be really hard and you probably wouldn't do very well. Same thing here. If you just immediately try to do the homework assignments without going through the lessons in the module, you might not do so well. And eventually that will catch up to you, because on the formal writing assignments and the final exam essay, you need to show that you've learned the material throughout the course. So try to go through the material, the lessons first, and then complete the homework that week. The only only thing that that doesn't apply to is the weekly discussion. So every weekly discussion, you can do that whenever. You don't have to go through the lessons first, right? But the other assignments, it would probably be best if you went through the lessons and the subtabs first. There's usually at least a PowerPoint or a handout and a video lesson. Even if you don't watch every single video lesson or you just let it play in the background, at least go through the lessons. At least see what they're all about. You know, if you need to go back and review them more closely, more thoroughly, then you can. But at least get a feel for what we're learning that week before you just jump in and try to do the assignments. If you look at week 2, it's set up the exact same way. You click on week 2 module, you see the outline there on the right hand side. Every item on the outline matches up exactly with the subtabs under week 2 module, the last subtab being the homework assignments. You'll only see week 2 attendance quiz to begin with, but once you take it and submit it, then all the other week 2 assignments will appear and you can access them. Good idea to go through the lessons first before completing the week 2 assignments. Set the week 2 discussion, you can do that at any point. Okay, that's how each module is laid out. All of the subtabs are the lessons we would cover together in the classroom, and then the homework assignments are all listed there together. If you can kind of keep that as your model for how to approach each week, it will not only help you understand the material better and do better on the assignments, but it will help you understand how everything is connected. It will help you make sure you know what to go through each week. And it will help you understand the workload better each week. If you can remember, oh, this is what we would cover in the class together. This is what I would work on as homework. It helps make it seem more manageable and not like you're just being bombarded with work. It is a lot of work because you're having to do it all on your own, but there's no escaping that. It's supposed to be 4 hours of in-class work and 2 hours of outside work. That's not going to change. We don't even make those rules. Those rules are set up by ADHES, our accrediting body. They are the ones that say this is how many hours this class needs to contain. If we don't adhere to those requirements, we lose our accreditation and then we can't give you diplomas. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't change just because it's an online course. Now though, you have to do those 4 hours of classwork on your own and still the graded items, the homework items. So if you can find time to go through the lessons and then make time later afterwards to do the homework assignments, it might help you stay on track and stay a little more focused and understand how to work through each module. If you are unsure how to submit assignments, how to submit quizzes, how to post to the discussions, if you did not take the orientation course, there should be a course listed on your Brightspace page called Learner Training Course. And in that course, they offer very brief tutorial videos on how to do all of those activities. How to take a quiz, how to post to a discussion, how to submit assignments. And they're very brief, like less than 5 minutes long. So that might be one place you could go to see a visual explanation of how to do those things. But obviously I'm always available, and if there's anybody on campus, any particular instructor or staff member that you think would be able to explain it to you, I'm sure they would all be willing to help you out. We will get you to where you need to be. But this video, I just wanted to explain how I've set up each week, how to work through the material each week so that it makes sense and you can see how it all flows. And once you get the hang of it, the first week or two, the rest will be, super easy because it's the exact same format every single week. If you have any questions, please let me know. You guys will get the hang of it, alright? But you guys are now free to move on to the next item.